Woolly's fairy tale. Sheep counting a lullaby. Fog. The Black Shores. Adventure. Let's go. Hero takes the stage. Woolies save the world. A girl accompanied by one black and one white Woolly. Encore, consultant from the Black Shores, dreams of creating happy stories with candies, fairy tales, and her imagination. Let's be friends. If you've got questions that can't be solved, no worries. Just ask Encore for help. If you've got answers that feel out of grasp, no worries. Just ask Encore to help. If there are places you can't reach, still, no worries. Let's all shout that name together. Encore! For those new to the Black Shores, please don't let the eerily beautiful Blake Bloom and the organization's unique way of doing horticulture throw you off. With little Encore by your side, any doubts will be dispelled by her warm and enthusiastic greetings. She is passionate, confident, and truly genuine. This charming friend will make sure your journey is anything but dull. Just remember to fully immerse yourself in those intimate moments with Encore's Woolies. Oh, apologies if Cosmos accidentally bumps into you. It just tends to get a little too excited. But no need to worry, not a single scratch will be left on your beautiful face, really. Visitors from afar, please cast all your worries aside, clear your minds, and listen to Encore's captivating stories. It's safe to accept her little gifts, usually handmade by herself. But if by chance the gift turns out to be some sweets or, well, food, just make sure you're ready for its bold look. Though, truth be told, if you close your eyes while eating, you might be surprised to find it's not half bad. Encore is always a delightful companion. With her, your journey will be filled with boundless excitement and treasures. She'll take your hand and guide you through every nook and cranny of the world. Worried about tacit discords? Fear not. Encore isn't the average little girl who'd hide behind the adults. With a little bit of her flames, any tacit discords would be turned into ashes. Now, what if she accidentally sets your hair on fire? Encore assures you she'll be more careful next time. After all, changing your hairstyle every once in a while doesn't sound like a bad idea, does it? Come now, let's join Encore in the great adventure. Trust me, there's nothing in the Black Shores more enjoyable than this. Of course, you'll need to be fully prepared. Take a deep breath now, count to 3, and ask yourself, are you ready? A kid from the theater. Encore can't quite remember how long Cosmos and Cloudy have been a part of her life. It feels as if they have always been there, intertwined with her existence from the very beginning. Perhaps she met them when she was too young to remember. Anyway, her first vivid memories of these Woolies trace back to a cramped yet lively theater. Back then, a captivating play unfolded amidst enthusiastic applause and the cheers of children. Kids around her age passionately called out the hero's name, but the stage was dimly lit with tightly closed curtains. After a brief confusion, the children regained their rhythm, chanting in unison for an encore until drums sounded and the curtains lifted, welcoming the return of the hero. Her mother, more precisely, the Woolly Knight portrayed by her mother, graced the stage, wielding a long sword that sent the villain fleeing in defeat. The Black Woolly saved the White Woolly Princess, and then they had a happy ever after. For a long time, Encore associated her mother with the Black Woolly Knight. This brave protector of the kingdom reminded her of how her mother took care of her. Sometimes, when Encore acted up, she saw the same faked stern expression in both her mother and the Woolly Knight. As a child, Encore secretly favored the cute Cloudy, a detail she never shared with Cosmos. Cloudy represented the gentle princess with a kind heart, adorned in beautiful dresses and a crown, residing in a dreamlike castle. The young Encore aspired to be a princess, longing for elegant dresses, a majestic crown, and a sumptuous bed to rest on. Free-spirited children like her didn't fret over monsters beyond the castle. It was the Black Woolly's duty to keep her safe. Outside the castle was the knight's battlefield. During those days, Cosmos and Cloudy were mere plushies. They were Encore's good friends, but after playtime, they would always maintain a quiet distance, lying still in a box without uttering a word. It was only when the night fell that faint whispers would emerge beside Encore's bed. Their fluffy little hands would tenderly stroke Encore's cheeks, offering comfort and freeing her from the clutches of nightmares. Don't be afraid, Encore. Sweet dreams await you. Sleep well, for the adventures with the Woolies will be carefully preserved in dreams. A Heroine's Return. The first time Cosmos and Cloudy spoke to Encore, was at her mother's funeral. It was sudden. She still vividly remembers hearing them, as dirty soil and wilted leaves fell onto the coffin. Initially, the plushies were nestled quietly in Encore's arms, like how they always lay inside the box her mother carried for performances. However, as the funeral attendees began shoveling soil onto the coffin, Cloudy emitted an almost inaudible breath. The small episode went unnoticed by everyone except Encore. Encore! Encore! The plushies gradually upped their volume when they realized no one else was paying attention. Encore glanced around warily, trying to confirm no one else heard their voices. Let's go, Encore! I'm so bored! Cosmos bluntly complained. Surprisingly, its voice resembled Encore's more than her mother's. But Cloudy doesn't want to leave, Cloudy whimpered. Encore struggled to discern who it sounded like, sometimes like herself, and sometimes more like her mother. Then, a brief silence followed. The cold morning wind howled through the cemetery, across the mourning crowd, carrying the sound of soil falling onto the coffin further away. No! Cosmos impatiently urged. We can't wait anymore! The show's almost over! As if it suddenly remembered something, Cloudy became anxious. Encore! Encore! Go to the theater! Let's go to the theater! Gazing into the distance, beyond the shadowy trees of the cemetery, Encore fixated on the theater's worn but still eye-catching sign. She heard the laughter of children, their uninhibited joy contrasting with the somber sounds of gravel and dirt. Amidst disapproving stares of her relatives, Encore fled the cemetery and arrived at the abandoned theater. As she pushed open the door, dusty silence was disturbed. Warm spotlights glimmered on the stage, revealing a sea of flowers. Amid the flowers, her mother's once withered figure now shone brilliantly, igniting Encore's longing for the woman she loved so dearly. Mommy! Tears shimmered in Encore's eyes as she stumbled toward the stage. But right before she could touch her mother, she was forcefully pulled into darkness. The show was over. The lights dimmed and the curtains closed tightly. An eerie silence filled the theater as the demons of sadness and fear crept in. Encore was trapped once again in her haunting nightmare. Encore! Cosmos shouted. Encore! Cloudy echoed. To dispel Encore's fear and help her regain courage, Cosmos and Cloudy continued to shout the very word that could bring back the show. Encore! They kept trying until Encore regained her senses and joined them in shouting her own name. Moments later, the curtains lifted once more, accompanied by drum rolls. As the lights dispelled the darkness, Encore emerged onto the stage as the new leading role, welcomed by enthusiastic applause from Cosmos and Cloudy. Overwhelmed, Encore couldn't help but burst into tears. All the sadness and fear were washed away with her streaming tears. Soon, her usual smile reappeared on her face. Now, it was Encore's turn to play the brave woolly knight. A new adventure was about to unfold. This time, she'll make sure her story has a happy ending. Orphanage and Candy House. Being the great consultant of the Black Shores as she is now, Encore still refuses to act like a grown-up girl. To her, growing up means bidding farewell to bedtime stories, a prospect she firmly rejects. The very idea of drifting into sleep with empty, dark dreams instead of the vibrant hues of wonderful tales doesn't sit well with her. Luckily, the adults in the Black Shores are happy to indulge her. However, there lies a challenge. Who among the busy grown-ups can spare the time to read Encore a brief bedtime story? That's when Cloudy raised its little fluffy hand, promptly followed by the dark, fluffy hand of Cosmos. On this particular evening, Cloudy brought Encore the old story of the Candy House. Then... Cloudy's voice trailed off, growing softer. Oh no, it seemed to have forgotten the next part. Nervously, Cloudy glanced at its companion, lifting the blanket and attempting to hide itself from the intense embarrassment. I know! Cosmos eagerly pushed Cloudy aside, standing beside Encore's bed, proudly taking over the storytelling. Then, the great Encore, blessed by blazing flames, defeated the big bad cat. Its dirty fur was all burnt. And what about the great Encore's friends? Everyone was safe because of the great Encore, of course. From then on, people lived in happiness without worrying about the big bad cat. Encore immersed herself in the story until her eyelids succumbed to the irresistible call of sleep. She wanted to add that Director Mama is not a big bad cat, but she was too tired to form a complete sentence. In the end, Cloudy and Cosmos, confused by Encore's muttered objection, joined her under the soft covers and they all drifted into a deep sleep. In her dream, Encore found herself back at the orphanage, standing before the candy house, devoured by scorching flames. The roof melted in the inferno, and boiling syrup oozed onto the dying black cat, adding to its suffering. The creature was a grotesque symbol of its own transgressions. Encore witnessed its demise, the inevitable consequence of its wicked deeds. However, the Reaper refused to easily forgive this sinful soul soaked in innocent blood, choosing instead to torture it and revel in its reluctant confession. Agonizing screams reverberated through the forest. All creatures, once aggressive hyenas and arrogant crows, cowered in fear. In this silent place, only Encore and the dying souls endured. It must hurt a lot. A fiery blaze cast a glow on Encore's face as she approached the dying cat. She gently pressed her cheek against its body, using her scarred little hands to stroke its fur. The giant cat resented Encore for foiling its plan, expecting her to feel the same. After all, its evil deeds were cruel enough to earn the resentment of everyone. But why? Why did it feel nothing but warmth and sorrow from Encore's little hand? Frenzied flames danced around the candy house, seemingly intent on devouring everything. Yet, Encore was not afraid. She leaned against the giant cat and started singing a lullaby. It's a melody the cat had heard when it was still called Director Mama by Encore and other children in the orphanage. It had sung this same song countless times for every one of its children. Encore kept on singing, her voice becoming hoarse, until the blazing flames went out, until the first morning glow graced the sky. She felt the warm sunlight on her fingertips, and the cat's blessing faded away, disappearing into the misty depths of the forest. Looking down, the once huge, ugly cat had transformed into a small kitten, curling up in Encore's arms, sleeping soundly. Director Mama isn't a big bad cat. Encore's sleep talk startled the night patroller passing by. Encore has defeated the bad guys, so Mama no longer needs to be the big bad cat now. The night patroller shook her head in resignation, amused by the girl's unruly sleeping posture. She gently tucked Encore in and continued her patrol. A new story, a new adventure. Encore's initial impression of Alto fell somewhere between good and bad. A weird but fun grown-up, she remarked. The sight of someone donning sunglasses indoors intrigued her, but wearing them in a dimly lit place also struck her as peculiar. Encore couldn't quite figure out the reasoning behind it. Upon noticing the nurse guiding this weird grown-up inside, Encore hastily returned to her bed, pretending to read her storybook. So, you're that kid from the news, the one from the orphanage. Alto removed his sunglasses, scrutinizing Encore with care. The idea of such a small child achieving all that seemed impossible to him. He recalled the headline he had glimpsed in the newspaper. 9-year-old girl cracks sensational case. While uncertain about the reliability of tabloid content, he had a mission here. Well, even that one said, "This is the decision of Tethys," and the Tethys system could never go wrong. What a strange uncle you are. Encore doesn't know what you're talking about. Setting aside her storybook, Encore studied Alto, mirroring his earlier scrutiny. To her, Alto looked like a big dog or maybe a wolf, an affable gray wolf that wouldn't bare its fangs at her. Oh yeah, you're Encore. That's right. You're the one I'm looking for. Wait, how could you call me an uncle? Take a closer look. Do I look that old? Alto's distressed expression only made Encore laugh. Perhaps a bit bored from her hospital stay, she decided to make fun of this weird grown-up a little more. Okay, let Encore take a closer look. Yep, you're still a big old guy. An uncle. Alto sighed in exasperation. Come on, say something nice. This is no easy task, you know. I've got to take care of the other little ones from that orphanage too. He pleaded, knowing that being teased by a child was insignificant compared to fulfilling his duties for the Black Shores. Anyway, back to the point. Little one, are you coming with me? Alto's tone shifted from lighthearted to serious, but soon reverted to his usual playfulness. You can have as many candies as you want. Well, not too many though, it's bad for your teeth.
That sounds suspicious,
Encore replied, her bright eyes blinking with curiosity. Rather than answering Alto's question, she picked up Cosmos and Cloudy, bringing them closer to her ears.
Willies, you got something to tell me? Wow, really? So this weird uncle is actually a good guy? No way.
Hey, I'll forgive you for calling me an uncle now, but what's with the no way? Do I not look like the perfect good guy?
Since Cosmos and Cloudy said you're a good guy, Uncle will go with you,
she said, trying to make her tone sound formal.
But Cosmos and Cloudy are coming too. They are my best friends.
Sure, Alto agreed without hesitation. Those are just some ordinary plushies, aren't they? Alto studied the plushies before him, trying to understand the child's perspective. It felt strange to him, but Encore seemed to truly believe that they were alive. It was an adventure, a new adventure. Encore embraced her woolly companions with joy, spinning first with Cosmos and then with Cloudy. As she grew older, she learned to treat all her friends with equal love and care. Suddenly, a crucial question struck Encore.
What are we going to do?
Well, Alto donned his sunglasses once again, replying, to save the world, of course. Woolly dolls. The woolly dolls are gifts from Mama. They always listen to Encore and always stay by her side. The woolies are not only Encore's emotional projection, but also important friends in her life. Coral bowl. Encore's specialty dish, made of purple coral from the Black Shores and carefully cooked with various ingredients. Encore always tries to make something new, and somehow the flavor is surprisingly good. But the thing looks so horrible that it takes a lot of courage to try. Not even Alto can handle it. Prank toy. Alto had added his own twist to this prank toy. It made its debut on one of Encore's birthdays, much to Camelia's disapproval of Alto's taste in toys. At every Black Shores member's birthday party, Encore plays the recorded birthday song from this little toy as a small surprise. After all, unexpected and unpleasant surprises are a frequent occurrence on their adventures. Forte examination report. Resonance ability, woolly counting game. Resonance evaluation report, evaluation basis, resonance assessment 1631-J. The exact time of resonant Encore's awakening remains uncertain. According to Encore's reports and resonance inspection, the sheep-like entities that accompany her are considered to be manifestations of her imagination and psychological state. They are believed to represent her Forte abilities. Encore's resonance assessment was found to be influenced by the collective emotion in the testing environment, exhibiting a strong synteny response. The cause of her awakening remains unconfirmed. Encore bears a task mark on her upper back, and post-awakening examinations have revealed minor physical mutations, including wool-like hair tips. In terms of heightened emotional states, she may also manifest sheep-like horns, requiring caution from testing personnel. Analysis of test samples revealed a non-convergent rebels curve with a noticeable periodic waveform, which classifies Encore as a congenital resonator. Overclock diagnostic report. Resonator Encore's waveform graph shows zigzag fluctuations. The pattern of time domain is irregular. Both the upper and lower peak values are high and manifest proximity to the criticality level. The waveform displays segments of partial fuzziness and abnormal waveform can be seen. Resonant criticality, relatively high, combined with low stability. Risk of overclocking is significant. It is recommended to contact a guardian for routine examinations and provide psychological intervention if necessary.
Scribbled annotation. Encore says Alto is not her guardian. Don't want examinations. She likes stories better.
Annotation to the annotation. Please be good, little one. We have candies for you if you want some.